Here's Billy Forbes, maybe an opportunity. Here's Lopez to put it away. Redemption for San Antonio, but this might be brought back. They're not playing advantage. Instead, it's a red card to Leonardo. Oh, huge play in the last knockings. Forbes was free.
Not only this, Forbes stays in the play.
So that was the end to the match between San Antonio and Orange County in Irvine. A little bit controversial. There was a lot of questioning going on social media last night, and we're here to discuss that. We'll also talk a few other things in this episode. We brought some friends along. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
We are underway in the postseason, the first playoff game ever played in Orange County.
It's a 1-2, Bedoy. He's found a great ball into Voltson. Plenty of time. He smashes it home and doubles the visitors' lead. Thomas Voltson.
Now Segber sprinting forward on the counterattack. A little handsy there. Crosses it. Pineda, the extra pass. Seaton finishes.
It rolls down to his left and burying aside. Well taken care of by the Orange County keeper.
We'll leave it for Aiden Quinn. He'll strike towards goal, and it's gone in!
An equalizer and a winner in second half stoppage time for Orange County off the left boot of Aiden Quinn.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast and on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora, and I am with you each and every episode as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Joining me as he does each and every episode, even early on a Sunday morning, we've got Dylan from County Line Coalition. Dylan, how are you doing this morning?
I'm pretty good. Thankfully, I didn't have the recap to do. That was Alan's job, so I didn't stay up too late after I sent that in. But definitely a little bit earlier than I normally get up on a Sunday morning.
I probably would say, at least for me, I'm not going to answer for everyone else, but yeah, definitely earlier than normal for me as well. Also joining us, the person that actually did do the recap. I don't know if it was difficult, easy, or whatnot, but we've got Alan down in San Diego. Alan, how's it going?
Good. I'm actually in San Jose right now. I am at a California Teachers Association event, so I have meetings all day. So thank you for meeting a little bit earlier on my behalf. It was a incredibly frustrating game, but I'm sure we'll talk all about it in a bit.
Oh, we will. We definitely will. Before we get into that, though, we got a couple guests along that are going to help us with our match preview for the midweek match coming up. Our first guest I'll introduce is our reigning runner-up for Guest of the Year on the Orange and Black Soccer Cast. That's John Macaluso from 1868 Weekly. John, welcome back to the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me back. It's nice to have you all back as co-hosts on my second show. So thank you all.
You know, it's awesome when we can get you on, and I'm grateful, or I'm ecstatic that this timing where we're doing a super early Sunday morning recording actually worked out for you, because I know you got a lot of stuff going on your calendar, which sometimes makes it difficult to schedule you on as a guest and welcome you back. But you're always welcome to join us whenever you have the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here, man.
Also along to help us out with the upcoming Reno match preview, John's partner in crime up there in Reno with 1868 Weekly, and that's Brad Polonsky. Brad, how is your hair ready for this upcoming week?
Yeah, it's a little early, so I'm not going to show it off today. But we'll see how my voice holds up from last night's slobber knocker of a match against LA Galaxy 2.
And we'll let you guys to talk, Brad and John, if you guys want to talk briefly about that match here as we get into it. We will definitely do that. Hopefully your voice can hold up to what happened there, or all the fun yelling you did as a fan out there in the city called Carson, where the LA Galaxy 2 play. But before we do that, we do got to talk about the match that happened in Irvine for Orange County. And that match was Orange County hosting San Antonio, two teams that have been struggling so far in the season. And I think you could tell from the final scoreline and sort of from the results on the pitch, still two teams that just can't find their way and figure things out. They drew in San Antonio. Now they draw in Irvine, and they're both sitting outside of the playoff table. So Orange County versus San Antonio, a 0-0 draw. In the end, there was some excitement, controversy, depending on what side you're on. It was really difficult to tell what happened. You saw the highlights there at the very beginning of the episode here. Let me get to you, Dylan, because you were actually at the stadium. Give us your brief, impressions of what happened in that match.
I basically think that like the two teams didn't really do too much for the first half. I think as always, we lacked that last pass in the box or that last touch to get us a goal. I thought Forster played well for 30 minutes. There was a point where he deked one of his defenders, got a little bit of space, and then had a opportunity to shoot from the top of the box, and then decided to take two more touches and blast it off of someone's shins and lose possession. And that kind of sums up how the offense went for this game. Not a lot of opportunities, or maybe one arose and then it just didn't work out. Walker Hume missed a header, and it's those little things that don't work out. Later in the game, Darwin Jones had a cross that went a little bit too close to goal, but not close enough to maybe sneak into the back post because he'd beaten Cardone on it. So it's basically the same issue that we've been having all year, and I think everyone's acknowledging that. And I think the players are pretty frustrated last night. Not like that time we were going to miss like 2 minutes.
Go ahead and start back up.
I think some of the ownership and Oliver, the GM, they're a little bit frustrated, but I think they've got faith that things are going to turn around. I think they realize that at this point, at a game like this, sometimes it is just luck that doesn't go your way. That last pass doesn't always come off. And, when your strikers aren't in form and you get guys going down with injuries, you just kind of got to hope for a point in a really busy run of games. And that's what this was. And hopefully it means we can pick up a couple more.
Awesome. And what do we think of Dylan's early Sunday morning voice there? You could tell he was at a soccer match last night, just probably woke up right before we got started here. Alan, what about you? You were covering the match. You actually wrote the recap for the match on this. What were your impressions of what happened out there on the pitch and in a few words?
Yeah, I have to agree. There was a Michael Seaton strike, like cute little outside of the boot, and Matt Cardone just managed to somehow find it with some kind of reflective, like just reflexes, and just punched it just wide. I think that was our best shot of the night. Cardone had a couple of good saves. It's frustrating not to be able to get one in, especially with the talent that's on the pitch. You want them to be patient and you want them to build up. And I think if you watch it back on ESPN Plus, they even talk about it, how they mix it up, but they're much more successful when it's a little bit more patient. But then at the end of the game, you feel like you need to get it forward, you need to get it forward, you need to get it forward. And toward the end of the game, I thought they gave the ball away too easily toward the end, just kind of trying to pump it deep. And there's like nobody there. It's like, now that you've wasted 2 minutes, if you're going to waste those 2 minutes, you might as well have some type of build-up play. Incredibly frustrated. The play at the end, I know San Antonio fans are frustrated and they feel like they've been robbed, but it's the right call. You don't feel good about it because you definitely don't want it felt like it's one of those fouls where you foul the guy in order to keep a goal from happening. And then you get a shootout in hockey or something. And in soccer, you pull the goal back because Frank Lopez was definitely offside. That AR on the right-hand side definitely made the right call. And, it's terrible and you feel bad for San Antonio fans because you would be livid if that had happened to your team. But day after, things are calmer. It's definitely the right choice. It was a frustrating way to end the game for both sides, I'm sure. And you play 180 minutes and you get 0 goals. I'm sure both teams are not exactly excited about either of those results.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, it's sort of disappointing when you go that whole game, 2 matches between these two teams, and there's no score whatsoever. That call at the end of the match, the questionability on that call comes because there's not really a great camera angle to see what happened, and you do not see the AR. So a lot of fans, myself included, are looking at it. It looks like they're calling it back because of the red card, which is the absolute wrong call in there. Dylan at the stadium saw that the AR actually did have his flag up, so that's the call. But it's one of those things also when you have the USL and you have these off-site broadcasts, the announcers are not at the stadium. They're, on a remote stream or whatever, calling the match. So they can't even see what's going on other than what we all see on the screen. So it makes it very difficult for any clarification. A few key things that I saw in the match: Orange County, again, was attempting more than anything else to play the ball over the top instead of trying to build up play, which has become a little bit of a frustration on the season. Also, I think this is now like the 3rd time Walker Hume has sort of swung and missed on a kick, which other times has led to damage. This time it gets saved by an offside call, but there's some opportunity for question there and what he's doing on some of those plays, misjudging the ball. So frustrating match. In the end, Orange County has a point thanks to what happened there at the very end, and better than having 0 points in the match, I guess, but it's not what fans wanted with a San Antonio team coming into Orange County, into Irvine. They've been struggling a bit this season, so you expect to be able to come away with the full 3 points in that match. I think all 3 of us said last week we are expecting a victory for Orange County. Doesn't happen. But 1 point is better than 0, I guess, so we'll go with that. For those of you watching the live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, we do have the highlights going courtesy of USL Championship. So that is there if you're watching the live stream. I'm going to go to John, because you got to watch sort of that play that was the controversial play at the end of the match. Do you see what San Antonio fans were seeing, or do you see what we've been discussing here this morning when you see that?
I think I definitely see a lot of the frustration from the San Antonio fans. The linesman in the replay, at least the replay that I was able to find on YouTube, was the linesman was nowhere to be found. I mean, he wasn't far to the right. He wasn't far to the left. So I think it's you guys, Orange County fans, can kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's just when it comes down to it, it's something that looked like it definitely should have been a goal. But I guess that's lucky for Orange County fans, a little bit less lucky for San Antonio fans. It happens. It's sports. It happens in every sport. Calls go different ways than maybe they should. That's just what I've gathered, and that was about 5 minutes of thought here, guys. So that's just what I've got for you.
And I'm gonna just throw this question out to Brad, because you're hanging out there. I don't know if you got to actually watch that clip, but one of our recurring themes on our show a lot this season, and I think even past season, is questioning calls made by the refs out on the pitch. Is that something that you guys experience out there in Reno, as far as maybe some bad calls or some frustrating calls as fans? I'm not asking like, you're a fan and the call went against you because that should have happened. I'm saying where it's just a blatant wrong call by the ref that impacts a game for the fans and for the players and the teams.
Yeah, we've had 2 or 3 up in Reno at least this year, although not to the extent of what like the 6 or 7 that you guys have had this year. I also got to watch the highlight from yesterday's game, and the one thing that I noticed is just it all comes down to that camera work, like you were saying. When the red card is being given out, it's not within the frame of the picture until after he has the red card waved, so you can't see the ref before that red card's getting revealed, and you can't see the linesman at all during the whole time. So, I trust Dylan's eyes on the field. It's just USL, either another camera needed to be placed or something, but just sucks.
And I think typically at an Orange County match, there's only usually about 3 cameras set up, maybe 4. When I've wandered around, you don't see many cameras out there. So it's that right there. You're not going to always have great camera angles. We don't have VAR. We don't have stuff like that going on in USL. But again, sometimes just it'd be nice to have that additional camera angle for a situation like this, where you can maybe see what was happening on the whole field and not just a zoomed up section, which is all we basically got to see in that for the most part there. Before we move away from this match, I want to get back to Dylan and Alan really quick, just to get your overall thoughts on how this result impacts us going forward. I'll start with you, Dylan. Is this a disappointing night for Orange County? And what do they need to do heading into a midweek fixture against a team that's doing really well? And I don't know if Dylan's there. There he is.
I am. Oh my God. I could not find the right tab. There's so much stuff pulled up to talk about this game. I think it is a big disappointment. But if you look at the stuff that happened this week with the club, I think it's actually somewhat of a decent result, especially if you look at how San Antonio just managed to get a massive 3 points on the road against El Paso, who've been towards the top of the table for most of the season now. Obviously, that whole scoring thing needs to get worked out, and it really needed to get worked out a couple months ago at this point, especially now. But if you look at the squad, we have one fit senior striker in Michael Seaton. Vinicius will have an operation later this week. Kevin Coleman is picked up a bit of a tweaked hamstring, so Michael Seaton is the only person who can truly play as a number 9, like a natural number 9 in that position. And we got a 17-year-old goalkeeper, his first shutout clean sheet of his career. So, if nothing else, it wasn't
victory, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the little victories here. We didn't concede. We didn't concede in the first 15 minutes or right around halftime or in extra time. Leonardo played well, and then the red card that he picked up was absolutely needed. You drag that guy down, you take the red card, and whatever. We have a bunch of center backs. We can make it out.
And we all know that he's not your first choice for center back anyways, Dylan. So
well, not after the last few weeks, but I thought he actually played well this week. I wasn't even mad when he kicked out at Forbes. I was like, "Yep, nope, you have to do that."
Yeah, you have to make them earn that goal. I mean, I know some people will question it. It's obvious you're fouling him to stop the goal, but in soccer, that's a play you make because that's a play that you have available to you is take a red card for the team to stop a sure goal or what looks like a sure goal and make the team maybe work a little harder for it. Alan, what about you going forward? What do you think in this?
It's a disappointing result because you need to win at home against teams that are either around you or, in the playoff hunt, trying to get back into the playoffs. I agree. Leonardo played well. There's like a great stand-up tackle that he made. The red card that he gets is not dirty. He doesn't try to put studs into him. He just fouls him and gets enough of him for him to fall down, although he almost didn't. Gets enough for him to stop the play, but he's not trying to be dirty. He's not trying to injure the player or hard crunching tackle to get the red card. We keep saying this. We're in striking distance, if you will, of a play-in game. We're 3 points back of OKC and New Mexico and Sacramento. But a couple of those teams have games in hand. There's a couple of teams ahead of us that have games in hand, like Las Vegas. So it's one of those, like, we keep saying, like, we got to go, and it's not happening quite yet. It's not, like, killing us in the sense of possible sneaking into the playoffs. But if not, then when? Because San Antonio hasn't won the last 5 the way that Fresno and Reno have. And we're playing a really hot team coming up. And like Dylan said, the guys you would assume we're going to get starts this week, and you were excited to see get starts and play well and continue to play well aren't there because, an injury bug bites them and, the next guy up and next guy up. And right now it's hurting the team. Yeah,
There's no one available for Seton.
And, you just got to hope that, Christian Duke coming back is a shot in the arm. And it was great to see him on the pitch again. It was fantastic to see him on the pitch again. And you just got to hope that your guys that are on the pitch stay healthy. And, soccer's weird. Like, you can just have a great team and a bad team, and sometimes the bad team wins. So not that Orange County is a bad team. So they might be able to sneak one out if things go their way. But it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah, definitely. Dylan, I know it sounded like you had one last thing you wanted to say about this match before we move on to looking ahead to the next match.
No, I think Alan covered it well. All these players at this point, and Cloutier talked about it last night. Like, if you're on the squad, you basically have to be ready in these 10 days. You're probably going to play at this point. He said he's given an opportunity to basically everyone to try and to make a difference. And he said Kevin Coleman was doing that, a little bit of a hamstring thing. Didn't say how long he expected that to take. Didn't think it was too serious either. But, that just goes on with the luck thing. Is basically everything that could go wrong luck-wise has gone wrong this year and is continuing at this point.
Yeah, that's totally what's happened this season, which sort of sucks for Orange County and their fans. But they have a chance to turn things around again. We keep saying that. And this time, though, it's against a pretty challenging opponent. That's why we, again, brought these two guests along that have been on our show a few times in the past. We enjoy having them on, so we want to hear what's going on. Before we get to John and Brad to hear what's going on in Reno, want to let everyone or remind everyone that the Orange and Black Soccer Cast is brought to you by Ruffneck Scarves and Golden Goal Press. So Ruffneck Scarves, of course, you can get custom scarves for your team, supporter groups, and whatnot. Golden Goal Press, you can get some custom T-shirts and whatnot for those same groups. John, do you guys use Ruffneck Scarves or Golden Goal Press for anything in the supporter groups or for team stuff? Do you know?
I think for the supporter groups, that actually might be a better question for Brad. As far as I know, I think we have, but I don't know about the brigade. Brad, give us some insight on that. I think you might know a little bit more about that than me.
So I do know that the team does use Ruffneck scarves up here in Reno. Cannot give you anything about the brigade. I'm holding one of our scarves. It doesn't have any branding on it, so I think we go outside of Ruffneck.
We go like genericscarfprinting.com or something like that. Well, let's get this up. I'm going to go to you first, John. What's going on up in there, Reno? You guys are having a good season.
Oh, baby, we're winning. We're winning, and life is good, and life is happy, and I mean that's the short bit of it. We've had injuries. We've lost arguably our best player. But we're treading on. We're keeping on.
Well, and like Dylan there in the video chat here, I'll go to you, Brad. What's it like to win?
Well, I mean, naturally, it feels good. My voice is ruined because of it. But yeah, like John said, it feels good to win. It feels good to win in spite of losing our best player to international duty, and then during that international duty getting signed by an Albanian Superliga team to play in the Europa League. Definitely is a good feeling. The team looks good. They are definitely fighting for each one of these wins. A lot of these wins have required 2-goal comebacks just to even get points, nevertheless win. So
you lost who you call your best player. That was Brown, correct?
Yes.
And so let me ask you this. Was it just a straight loss, or was it a transfer, or how did that all work out?
So what happened was Brian Brown was called up to the Jamaican national team, the Reggae Boys, for the Gold Cup. So we lost him in, I want to say, late April. I think that sounds about right. So he left in April for training and to compete with the team. And he has since gotten the eye of a couple of teams in Europe and signed as a transfer with Partizani in Albania.
All right. Was it a transfer, or was it just a free?
It was a transfer.
A transfer.
Yeah,
so you guys got something for it.
We haven't been disclosed of what we got for it, but yes, there has been something.
That must feel good. There's been a bunch of fun talk on our end about a player that recently left that we were like wondering what happened. We'll get into that a little bit later. But we're here right now talking about Reno. John, what's been going right for Reno, and why do you guys continue winning?
I think we were all really worried about Brian Brown's departure. He's a big guy, very aggressive. He definitely smells blood, and so we were a little bit nervous about that. But as he left, as Brad was saying initially, to play with Jamaica for the Gold Cup. And so during that time, other players started filling in. Corey Hertzog started getting hot just before Brian Brown left. And all of a sudden, you're seeing these players who really, kind of aren't really players that you think of when you think of scoring, and all of a sudden they're scoring. And I'm talking like Sam Gleedle and Seth Kasipli's been on the score sheet a lot lately. Guys whose names you don't hear very much, and they since have kept the momentum going. And so that's why we haven't missed Brown as much as we thought we have, because we've got Reno's always had a lot of depth, and these players are stepping up and filling in the gap that Brian Brown left. I mean, it's almost like Brian Brown was never even here. That's what this team's looking like, and it's really insane when you think about it. But yeah, I think that's really the core of how Reno stays Reno.
How they stay Reno. Brad, you were in Carson last night to watch Reno face LA Galaxy 2. Give us a brief take on how that match went. Was it a quality match for Reno? Was it a lucky win for Reno? And how do you feel with the result there and how they played heading into the midweek match here in Orange County?
Yeah, so I'm going to rewind a little bit to this past Wednesday. Reno came from a 2-0 goal deficit in Oklahoma City, came back. Aiden Apodaca has what I hope will be the goal of the week. It was a chip of the keeper at the top left of the box. 100% like amazing shot there. He's played up to the level that John was talking about. We've seen some Reno players score that don't usually score. I wanted just to throw out Aiden Apodaca's name because he has been on fire recently too. At the Carson game, however, as a fan, we were looking into the sun the first half, and the very first goal that was scored that game, there was absolutely no celebration on the field from the players, and it took us in the stands about 5 to 10 seconds to realize that a goal has been scored. It was quite funny. We didn't really realize anything happened until the ball was put at the center of the field, and then we started celebrating. But it was a quality win for Reno. The first goal was a little bit lucky for us in the way that it was deflected off a player and just kind of sneaked past the goalie. That was something that the goalie in Los Dos couldn't have stopped, never, just because of how wild that deflection was. It was going to his left side, and it ended up going squeaking into the right side of his net from him. Our second goal was a lot more quality. It was a header off a really, really, really perfect cross. And I think after those two goals, one in the first, one in the second, we got quiet on offense and kind of sat back a little bit, which also let us get a little lucky. We had the ball go off the goalpost twice, once directly into our keeper's hands, the other harmlessly goes out of bounds. But Reno stepped up and took a second victory on the road. So right now, on a 3-game road trip, we got 2 wins, and we're looking for a third on Wednesday.
And yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen. That's all I'll say there. Dylan, do you have any questions or thoughts for John or Brad?
Sam Gleedle, Reno's best player.
That's a tough one. He's very good. He's very fast. Brad, Matt, and I have talked a million times about how often I've been surprised by the dude's speed. I would say, yeah, definitely right now he's probably top 3. Definitely a guy that you guys need to worry about. But I think that everyone on that field is a guy that you guys should worry about. So I guess short answer, kind of. I'm kind of curious about what Brad has to say about that.
I currently wouldn't say that Sam Gleadle is our best player. I would say he is in the best form right now for Reno. I think he's been one of the most consistent performers. If he's not on the score sheet, he's either making an assist or he's distributing the ball really well. I just think he's in extremely good form right now. Like, this is his best play all season, and before that, he wasn't even a mention for a substitute in the game.
Follow-up question: could we have Duke Lacroix back?
No.
No. You can look at him, though.
Just for a week.
That'd be interesting. Just do like a week loan to Orange County to face your own team. That'd be awesome. There we go, right?
No, that would not be awesome.
Let me go to you, Alan. Do you have any questions or any thoughts for our friends up in Reno?
Can you bring like only half of your team? Because that would be great. Like, we need a home win. Just like help us out a little bit. You guys are already fine up there on the standings. So if you can talk some guys into like 90%, maybe turning the FIFA setting down on Reno a little bit. That'd be great.
50% speed or whatever.
Yep.
There's too much.
Don't think we can promise anything on that.
Yeah, there's too much on the line for this game. My hair is too important. I already told them they have to go 150%.
Oh, look at that. Dylan, did you remind Orange County that your hair is on the line, or is Brad one-upping you there?
You know, it's going to work out, but I'm already mentally ready to shave my head, if we're being honest.
So for
based
those
on
of you
how these seasons have differed for us.
So for those of you that have forgotten, it's a battle of the hairline here in this match. The hairline of Brad and Dylan are both on the line, depending on who wins between Orange County and Reno. The losing side, that podcast host will have to shave their head, buzz it. We're not going to get like a Bic and actually do like a clean shave on that, but it'd be interesting to see one of these two gentlemen with little hair up on top of their head. Yeah. I'm hoping it's Brad's hair that gets shaved in this result here, just because Orange County really needs a win. I mean, we've been saying that now for the last month and a half, that Orange County needs a win, and we need something out of them. And this, what better way to start a run than to get a win against Reno in front of 3,000 kids, and Brad has to get his hair shaved as well.
Well, I have to give Reno a lot of credit. What's crazy is there's, Phoenix is going on this incredible historic run, scoring tons of goals. They're probably going to break the goal record. Solomon Asante is probably going to break the scoring record, maybe even break the assist record. And Reno's right there. It's crazy. I just look at the standings. I was like, what? I mean, Phoenix has had a game in hand, so that Phoenix wins. There's 6 points, but you guys are right there. It's got to feel great with Phoenix going this great run, and they just can't quite pull away from you. And the same thing with Fresno. They can't quite pull away, and that's got to give you some really good hope, not only regular season, but also like, hey, if you face each other in the playoffs, I mean, it's not going to be a walkover.
Well, I think the crazy part is they beat us 3-0. So I think, the better the Reno is, the more I'm impressed with Phoenix. To be fair, Reno kind of fell apart in the second half. In the first half, Reno played really, really good soccer, but still behind Phoenix by a goal. It is pretty crazy to think about. I never really thought about it until you just brought it up. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
But I think Phoenix does that to lots of teams. I mean, just look at, Friday night's win. It was, a decent first half and then just a slaughter the second half.
Yeah.
And I've seen them do that to teams time and time again. It's just, but
which match are you talking about, Alan? That was against Austin, right?
Austin, yeah.
The game that put Austin's goal differential into the negative, even though they're, I think, fourth in the table with a -3 goal differential, which is just ridiculous when you think of it right there. Oh,
Insane.
anyone have any other thoughts heading into this match, or about hair or anything? Feel free to. I think Dylan has something.
Yeah, if you make it out to this game, bring some sunscreen and bring some water and eat beforehand. I think last year there wasn't any hospitality, and there's probably not going to be booze on a Wednesday at 1:00 for 3,000 kids. So yeah, bring some water and bring some sunscreen. I think it's supposed to be like 90 degrees or something like that.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. I was expecting like
here in the
100
greatest
or something
place
with the way you were talking.
on the planet, we have nice weather.
70s and 80s year round typically. So once you get into the 90s, it starts getting crazy. And yeah, like Dylan said, a bunch of kids there, so there probably won't be beer. And I think because all those kids bring their own sack lunches, they're not willing, or I guess the California Pizza Kitchen truck is not willing to come out and post up to get maybe $100 worth of sales at a match like this. So yeah, like Dylan said, plan for that. So I think Brad, you're planning on coming after the match, grab a bite to eat before you head into the stadium, or get a few beers in you before you head in the stadium. They
no,
don't.
Lord, you guys are gross.
They don't. The city of Irvine doesn't allow tailgating in the parking lots, and this is in a big park, so there's not like a bar across the street like you guys have the luxury of there up in Reno. So plan ahead, plan smart, and yeah, there you go. Good suggestion there, Dylan.
I got you guys. Looking out for you. You're my friends.
Well, let's get into this then. Let's predict what's going to happen in this match, and we're going to let our guests go first. I'm going to go to Brad first. Brad, what is your prediction score-wise, and maybe the key player to the match?
All right. Well, my headphones seem to have died out on me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, man, for me, I'm looking at 2-0 Reno. I think our current run of form has been really good, and I think that you guys are honestly limping into the match. And I'm looking at, I'm not predicting who's scoring, but player to watch out for Reno. We already talked about him. Sam Gleadle is secretly making a storm for our team. He is in really, really, really good form, and I'm just looking forward to that. And yes, I will be there. And yes, I do have my Malort. No, I will not make you drink it.
What about you? Who do we? Oh yeah, John. What about you, John?
Oh yeah. Well, this might surprise you guys, but I'm choosing Reno to win, and it's going to be a 3-1 match. And I think you guys are going to have to keep an eye on somebody who you're clearly familiar with. His name is Duke Lacroix.
All right.
Do we need to know why, or you guys pretty much know?
If you want to share why.
The fastest guy in the USL, assist master. He is the Duke, ladies and gentlemen.
Former Orange County player.
Former Orange County player. Let's go to Alan. What's your prediction for this match?
I'm going to go with since San Antonio was 0-0, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw at home. I think Orange County's only given up more than 3 goals, I think like 3 times this season. So even it's not necessarily our defense isn't porous. They just give up some set pieces from time to time. But in the run of play, they play pretty well. And I think that sorry, distracted by text.
Threw Alan off.
Early, my brain is so slow right now. I think that Michael Seaton maybe gets over the hump and actually gets one in again, and maybe Coleman's healthy. I don't know if Coleman's gonna be healthy enough for Wednesday if he wasn't healthy enough for Saturday, but maybe Quinney gets back on the board and we have a mirror image of the away game to start the season in Reno, a 2-2 draw.
Dylan, what about you?
I can't give the most positive I could give you is an Orange County draw. I think this is one of those games we actually have to set up really defensively and just try and beat him on the counter. I don't think we can try and play an open, expansive game against the side we are going to get obliterated if that happens. But just even talking to the players the last few weeks, they never know who they're playing next. So they are taking it 1 week at a time. And this is probably one they're going to realize they're going to have a pretty tough midweek challenge, but they're still pros at the end of the day, and they still know they got to show up. And sometimes when it's a really big match, they do show up, and then maybe with it being a home match, they'll be able to. But I think it'll probably be a slow start for both teams because this is a weird kickoff time. And I'm hoping just for another goalless draw or maybe a 1-1. But that's my optimistic view here, just based on how this season's going.
Gosh, Alan, Jill, you guys are so positive on the outcome of this match there. Someone's got to be positive for Orange County. I'm going to take that role. I'm going to say 1-0 Orange County. Aaron Cervantes is going to have a few amazing saves. He's going to try and recreate his save of the week opportunities he's already had this season, and he's going to do it big against Reno. And he's going to save Dylan's hair in this match, and Brad's going to have to shave it off. And we will love to see those images when that time comes, the end of the day there on Wednesday. So I'm going to say 1-0 Orange County in the home match, because someone has to be positive on our end. We can't all say that it's going to be a draw or a loss for Orange County. Any last thoughts, John, Brad, any last words or anything you want to share with our listeners before we move on from this Reno match?
Shall we bring back the logo challenge?
Oh, look at you, want to throw up the ante here on that. Oh, man.
I feel like we might as well. I mean, I'm telling you guys, your logo will look fly in blue and gold.
Yeah, if I remember that, you were pretty confident in a 1-0 win for Orange County. This is like free money for you then.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's do it. I don't care. Let's do it. We'll do the logo challenge. So the logo challenge, the losing side has to change their logo colors to match the winning side's logo colors. So the Reno logo will be orange, black, and white in a few days here, which will be awesome. Let's move on then really quick. A couple roster things to talk about on Orange County's end. I don't know if John, Brad, if you were sort of following us through all this fun stuff going on, but in the middle of last week here, Patrick McLean or it was on Friday, the club officially announced Patrick McLean and the club mutually parted ways, which that tends to be the wording for any time a player leaves the club mid-season. Happened with Nensel Selbo last season. It happened with Oscar Sordo last season. It happened, I think, earlier this season with a name I can't remember. Dylan or Alan, if you can help me out on that name. Charlie Adams, yes. So there was a bunch of rumors spreading around the internet. We sort of jumped on those rumors. Dylan did. He did a good job of writing up and following what was going on with this. So on Wednesday, there was a tweet that was sent out by, I believe the gentleman's name was Eli Lesser, that Patrick McLean had left the club, even though we hadn't heard anything yet. So Dylan, myself, we were sort of reaching out to the club, to other people, trying to get out. I reached out. I sent out a message in Twitter and Instagram to Patrick McLean himself to see if I could get any kind of confirmation of what was going on, because it was a total rumor. Ends up, we dropped an article on Thursday about the rumor, and then on Friday the club officially announces it. So we officially now know that Patrick McLean is gone, which means, barring any additional moves by the club, Aaron Cervantes is the new number one for the season, which I guess the way the season's going, why not throw out your 17-year-old and just let him learn on the fly and grow on the fly and develop on the fly there when you're struggling this season. I don't know if they don't bring in another goalkeeper, if that sort of lets us know the club's thoughts on how the season's going to go as far as what they're aiming for, maybe more developing more for next season. We'll see. Aaron Cervantes has been a pretty good goalie for the team out there. Sad to see McLean leave, and wish him best of luck in the future. But yeah, any thoughts on that, Dylan or Alan?
Yeah, you just got to wish him well. It seemed like it was a mutual decision in the end, and sometimes those things happen. Aaron Cervantes is a heck of a goalkeeper for 17. Even there's been a few little things here and there, but he's a solid goalkeeper, and you want to see him develop on the team. and grow, especially as a U.S. soccer fan with him being called up the U17s, and maybe Orange County gives him a chance to develop, and it ends up furthering his international career as well, and that would be great for him. I've seen McLean do some cool stuff on and off the pitch, even in Phoenix. There was that moment of him giving away his goalkeeper gloves to some Phoenix kids that were amazingly excited. So even after a bad game, he's still thinking about how to grow the game and how to engage the fans. And it just seemed like a really solid dude. And we're going to miss seeing him around, but he had to do what he felt was best for him and his career, and you do wish him the best.
Yeah, definitely. Sad to see him gone. Hopefully, Aaron Cervantes is ready for this role as maybe the now true number one starter for this team. Other roster things going on. I know there's been some sightings of Chris Cortez at some trainings for Orange County recently. For those of you that don't know, you can go head out to the Great Park and see the club training, because they just train out there on the pitch where people can see what's going on. But yeah, that's been seen out there on the pitch, on the training pitch, I believe. So we'll see. Maybe we'll hear something about that coming up. I know, Dylan, you're saying "oh no" on our video chat, so I don't know what that is representing. Dylan's just going to be quiet.
If I don't address what was said, then it didn't happen.
Then it didn't happen. Come on, Dylan.
Yeah, I think a few people have now seen him. That explains the massive person I saw at training this past week. But
yeah.
I don't know if there's any sort of a deal being worked out at this point, because he's coming off of a really long year and a half playing, and he was in Phoenix on Friday night. So yeah, I would argue probably nothing just yet. He plays a really similar role to Michael Seaton, just a really strong center forward.
Well, and you talked about, though, earlier that there's now a lack of depth there. So that's where maybe if there is something that works, that'd be awesome. Again, this is just total speculation. He's been seen at training, but we've seen this in the past because Honda's been at training in the past, and other players have been at training that are just out there to get a workout. They might be from the local area, or they just might have a connection with the team somehow, some way. So either a past player or whatnot. So I'm not trying to say it's happening. So anyone listening, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there has been some sightings of him at training by some people that follow the club. If there's something in the works, that'd be amazing. If not, awesome to see him just out there with the club and getting some work in. So don't mean to throw you on the spot there, Dylan, and say, hey, something's happening or it's like that. But nah, I just wanted to put it out there because, it's been a sighting. It's been seen.
We don't need another transfer room, I think. Not.
We're not going article on that. We're just saying what has been seen at training is a sighting of Chris Cortez. Let's do this. I think because it's an early Sunday morning, I think a lot of us got things to do. I don't want to drag this on. We're going to make this a little bit shorter than normal episode. So let's just move right into our final random thoughts of the week here coming up. And I'm going to start off with John. I'm going to let you go first with our random thought of the episode.
All right. Random thought. So this past week, I've been upgrading my computer, my PC. For those of you that don't know, I'm a big gamer. And so I've been upgrading my PC, and it's been a really awful experience. I almost just let out 2 expletives just now, actually. So, just prepare to, whenever you upgrade anything on your computer, just prepare to spend a butt ton of money and a butt ton of time, because I've done both. And that's it.
Awesome. What about you, Brad? Random thought.
All right, so I got a statement followed by a random thought. I think you guys are going to have more luck against Sacramento on Saturday. Personal statement aside, they aren't as good as we are. So, but my true random thought of the week is the new Lion King. If you are thinking about, this is going to be really similar to the original, I have no reason to go, you got to go. It is actually very, very, very well done. They break the fourth wall a ton of times. They update a lot of scenes. It's longer than the original. and it's absolutely stunningly beautiful too.
So I take it you've already seen it then.
Yeah, I went and saw it yesterday at 8 a.m., so it was great.
Awesome.
At 8 a.m. Okay.
Alan, what about you?
Random thought is it's early on a Sunday morning and it's great to be talking about soccer because I'm about to go sit in meetings and then fly home. But I don't really have a random thought today. My random thought is enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And thank you for listening to the podcast.
Awesome. Perfect. Dylan, what literature are you going to shove down our eyes and ears this week?
Oh, yes. Well, it's a shorter week, but you're not getting off any easier. I'm actually recommending Walden and Other Things. I think it's actually a great. You don't have to read all of it at once. I think you can work your way through it really slowly, and I think that's how it's best done as well. Pick up a lot of little things, and everyone loves some uplifting self-reliance and thoughts about that. So, especially in a time like this for our season, sometimes it's nice to escape the crushing reality of the 2019 USL season with a book or a story.
What are you talking about? It's going just fine.
You're right. It's going just fine. Other than that, I think we failed to mention that Aaron Cervantes won Save of the Week for his face/left hand save against Austin following a deflection. But I mean, if that's not enough, and if the way he's matured in goal this season isn't enough to give him the number one, I don't know what is, based on how this season's going. So I look forward to seeing what he can do the rest of the season. Didn't ask Cloutier or anyone if we were looking to get another goalkeeper, but I think just with how things are going, just give it to Aaron.
Go with Cervantes, yeah.
Yeah, he's young and hungry and deserves it, I think.
Random thought for me, ICC in action. There was a great match this morning. I only got to watch half of it. I'm not going to mention the team that was playing, but I'm excited for upcoming season. But it means the season's that much closer to coming for the European soccer. For a matter of time, let's go ahead and wrap things up really quick. John, social media, where can we find you?
You can find me at John Macluso on pretty much anything. And then also definitely follow 1868 Weekly on Twitter.
Brad, what about you?
You can find me mostly on Reddit at u/pal-on-the-sky.
Alan.
A_Underwood48 on the Twitter machines.
Dylan.
You can find me on Twitter at OCSE_Dylan, or you can find me on Reddit /u/OCSE_Dylan.
Perfect. And you can find the Orange Black Soccer Cast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever you want to find us at. On Twitter, it's OCSE_SoccerCast. On Facebook, just look up Orange and Black Soccer Cast. Find us. You can follow me on Twitter at DJ Ray Zamora. And yeah, that is it. I want to thank our guests, John and Brad, for joining us. As always, Dylan, Alan, love talking soccer with you each and every week. For those of you who listen continuously, thanks for continuing to do so. For those of you listening for maybe the first or second time, welcome back, and hopefully you'll keep listening and hearing more of what we have to say. Find us on our website, ocsepodcast.com. For John, for Brad, for Alan, and for Dylan, I am Ray. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.
We will always follow you. Let it rain, let it pour. We will sing forevermore. Our opponents know we will fight until the show. Forever orange and black. You can bet your life on that. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole. CLC, ole, ole. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole. CLC, ole, ole.
Thanks to our sponsor, Golden Goal Press, the best choice for you to get custom shirts, hats, mugs, and other items for just yourself or your organization. Check out their amazing products at a fraction of the price of other places at goldengoalpress.com. Also, thanks to Ruffneck Scarves, official scarf supplier to the MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at ruffneckscarves.com.